Scientists discover the fourth dimension. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get any more exciting than this. Just when you thought you knew what was going on, well, guess what? Now you might. I don't know. I certainly don't know what's going on, but I do know that this aluminum foil duct taped hat that I'm wearing is bouncing off these elf, harp, nano, gremlin, goblin beams so that I can bring this information to you guys. Seriously, this is tinfoil hat material. I just don't have tinfoil, so I'm having to use the aluminum foil. But let me share this with you directly from the New York Post, and I'm going to share with you the white papers. In one of the experiments, scientists studied the behavior of light particles moving through specifically made glass that bounces light back and forth between its edges. By simulating the effects of an electric charge via physical input, the team observed how the light behaved, watching for irregularities that could only be made possible if a fourth dimension was working behind the scenes. Also, this is the second experiment, they used super cold atoms that were held in place in a grid made of laser beams. Scientists called this setup a charge pump. What a wonderful name to choose for that. And they use it to test the flow of an electrical charge while monitoring how atoms respond. I'll leave the link in the video description box, the New York Post. This is titled Studies Find Evidence of a Fourth Dimension. And if you want to read the white papers, you can go to nature.com, the photonic topological boundary pumping as a probe of 4D quantum Hall physics. And the editorial summary says Quantum Hall annexes fourth dimension. They bring it into the mix, and you can read the abstract or the entire paper. It's like $200 to subscribe there for the year. You can buy or rent the actual full article, or you can just read the abstract and let your mind be tantalized, like these tingling, incredible sensations from all this information, 4D stuff. Now, here's where this is my interpretation of the 4D real quick, and I want to share this with you. This is where it gets exciting, even more exciting. Let me see. Hold on a second. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen. I know your time is extremely valuable. Okay, here we go. We just look at it. Well, this is a representation of a cube in 4D technology, 4D reality, the dimension showing how complex could be when these certain points reach each other. Fascinating indeed. We just look at it. Excuse me. What do you think that this looks like besides the Game Cube or the Hellraiser Cube or the Borg Cube or the Cube of Saturn? Let's see here. I typed in black cube via search engine to see what would come up, and just check that out. Hello. But take a look at this. You can see this is where I'm tying things together, and if you've stayed with me this long, good for you, because now this is where it gets very interesting. Look at this anomaly, the pole of Saturn. This Saturn, the what many feel is the king of this solar system in astrotheological sense, battling with the sun, maybe the polar opposite of the sun. Interesting to think about it if you do the day of Saturn and what that breaks down to. But look at the cube. I mean, it looks like a cube. You could put that 4D cube directly in there, the center point of Saturn. You've got the rings around Saturn. Could this represent the starting point, a pole to the fourth dimension? Could this be like the holographic projection of this entire 3D system that we're in? This is the 4D projection point, the Nexus point. Imagine the old big screen TVs that had those, like usually 3 color guns in the back, those projectors. Well, maybe this is where the projector of our physical stimuli, or this, these atoms and protons, neutrons, electrons that make up the carbon, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. The majority of our bodies are made up of carbon atoms. What if this is, and you've heard of the rings of Saturn and what they represent in different forms. You can look at the yin and the yang, etc. But imagine this being the foundation of the next layer, fourth dimension, being able to go in and out of the third, the second, the first. And then it could also link to different kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the human domain, the 4D. Imagine beings being able to bounce in and out of these dimensions via reflections of light. Now, if you look into the cult of Saturn, if you look into many of these religious meccas that have a cube or a rectangle representation of a worship point, there is, look at the headquarters of the UN, there's a meditation room that has this cube. Look at the Hellraiser scenario, the cube opening up the portal to hell. Look at the Borg cube. There's also certain Judaic traditions that look at this like black cube as a central point to a, you know, the higher spirit, to source. So maybe there's, just like anything else, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can, you know, it's got these dualities that we're in this incredible sense of information that is just bringing so many different, for example, yin yang. We live in a system that has polarities, that gives us an opportunity to experience different emotions and energies and grow. It's like this yin and yang. Saturn can have good and bad attributes. So I don't want to link it all as bad by any means. It's like, how do you use it to work in conjunction with your higher self to get to the next level? And now if we can find out this 4D nexus point, this creation point now, where everything starts, or a large hub of this reality cosmos that we're in, you know, maybe that also explains some of these very fascinating moons that orbit Saturn that look like Death Stars, like Iaptus, Mimas. Look at those as well. Be excellent to each other, ladies and gentlemen, and be the change you want to see.